Hello everybody, Economic Ninja here. I want to talk to you today about a story that's out of the hedge. I'm going to link it in the description below. This actually lines up perfectly with what I was talking about when I predicted lumber was going to start collapsing mid-summer, when I said that people are going to care more about food costs and fuel costs than building a shed or a fence. And we just had this come out actually a couple days or a day ago. And it says world food prices jump in August to near decade high. Now, there's a much bigger problem going on in the background that I want people to realize, okay? And this isn't going to end anytime soon. So I think it's very important that we talk about this. And by the way, I'm actually going to put a link. This isn't food, it's water, but I started working with a company that produces the most amazing water filter I've ever seen, and I've actually been using it for 10 years and just recently reached out to them and asked if they had an affiliate link to help support the channel. They do. I have literally used this water filter for 10 years. It's one of the only water filters out there that takes fluoride out of the water. Okay, so with that being said, we'll jump in. Sorry for the little plug. Central banks and mainstream media continue to peddle the notion that soaring food inflation is temporary and the average Joe and Jane should not worry about it. But in a new report via the Rome-based Food and Agriculture Organization, global food prices are on the rise once again and back to near-decade highs. Now, guys, I'm not going to read this whole story verbatim. That's why I'm going to put it in this thing. But I want you to understand, this is just beginning. We are not only reaching massive food inflation, but food shortages, which are going to make the inflation, it's going to exacerbate. It's going to make it worse. I always pronounce that word wrong. But my point is that it's going to make it worse, okay? It says the food index right here, which follows the international prices of globally traded food commodities, averaged 127.4 points in August. That's up 3.9 points, which equals 3%, a little over, from July, and 31.5 points, which is 32%, from the same period last year. Now, a lot of people would say, you know what, that's not that big of a deal. And when we talk about global food prices, obviously there are going to be some countries that are going to be hit way worse than others, okay? So I want people to understand that, all right? Just because one country is reporting massive food shortages doesn't mean another one is. However, remember, when there's massive food shortages in one country, there is a rebalancing of food because food brokers understand. And it's really sad because it is profiteering at a certain point, but it's reality. This is how life works. When there is a shortage going somewhere and food is demanding a higher price in another country, food brokers will move that food from a country that it's cheaper to sell that food to a more expensive region. So it takes a certain amount of time for that rebalancing to happen, but it does end up happening, which means that translates to higher food prices globally. All right, I hope that makes sense. So you can see right here by this chart, let's see if we can click on it right here, multi-year chart dating back to 2016. And this is the index of global food prices. And you could see right back here when some interesting things started to happen in life that people right here, this is where prices peaked. But remember, it was September. Remember when I said that the crash, I've talked about this before, the collapse of the economy actually started September of 2019. And that has to do with the interbank lending rate. I've talked about that in many other videos before. That's when prices started to really tick up. So there might have been some people behind the scenes bidding up food prices. But then we saw it collapse going into this. And you have to wonder, well, why? Well, there was a lot of pre-buying of food and supplies going into the shutdown, and then an overabundance of supply. So that's what I personally believe it is. But now to say that this is going, and it doesn't look like it's quitting. It looks like we're about to hit this next leg up. So let's go back real quick. I just want to touch on a couple other quick things. Here you go. It says right here, Sogen's Albert Edwards first warned about soaring food inflation last December, ahead of the big rally in food prices. In a note, there's the title. He said a driver of food inflation has been global central banks' ultra-loose monetary policy and warns about uprisings in underdeveloped countries. Now, we're already starting to see that with protests all over South America, and I believe we're going to start to see that moving into Africa as well. Anytime you can't feed your family, That is what pushes a society to revolt. And I believe in this next 30 days, quite frankly, we're going to see a lot of that worldwide because this is getting serious. And so I want to encourage you, when you're prepared, you're not scared. You have supplies. And I think it's so important because we live in a day and age where we have such a fragile supply chain that it's important for the very few people that see things ahead. You don't have to hoard because, like with toilet paper, you only have so much toilet paper. My point being is go out and get it now. If you see this stuff happening before other people, go and stock up right now. Not only will you save a lot of money and heartache, but then what happens is the people that have no clue, the people that roll their eyes at you and think you're crazy, they'll go rushing to the stores in the next few weeks. And hopefully, since the people that have already seen it coming went and bought, the supply chain was able to replenish itself and go and fill those stores up. The one problem we have is when everybody sees it at once, and that's when you have these unbelievable food and supply shortages. All right, guys, I hope you got something out of this. This is actually the company that I was talking about with water filters. I'll link that in the description below. They used to be ProPure. They've changed their name. And so, yeah, I've been using them for 10 years. Absolutely love them. The water tastes amazing. All right, guys, that being said, thank you so much. The Economic Ninja is out.